And it was endlessly desolate. Once in a while seeing a little circle in the ground, maybe that would be a hut or two or three. And then as we got a little bit further down in elevation, we could see that these were the little dark spots running around on the ground. And I began to see that these were people. Once the engines shut off, there were all these people at the door wanting to take our things with them. That was my introduction to this new group of people that I've never seen before. The dignity and the peacefulness of these people is legendary. Hearing about their forbearance and knowing about their love for a peaceful resolution of disputes. But it was in this sharp contrast with a war nearby. My feet were, I think, swelling because of the dehydration and the long trip and the heat. 3 hours later, we're in this little area where the German doctors were, and I met this woman, a young lady who had her arm cut off. And I grabbed my camera and I took a picture. That was almost the first picture I took in Sudan. The bomb landed within 40 or 50 feet of the area where the kids were, and 7 or 8 of them were killed. She was the one who survived. There's a boy also. My sensibility was now fed by the pain I was in, by the dislocation I was in. So it made me even more sensitive to what I was seeing and who I was photographing. There was an explosion of goodwill, and it's a holiday. It's like the king or queen coming. This is their opportunity to show him who they are, demonstrate what they've made, little instruments that they use to dance with, and to do a ceremonial dance of maybe 10, 15 dancers and singers, and it's all coordinated with great energy and commitment. All of them want to get the eye of the bishop and show him who they are. During the time when the bishop comes, they're going to have a feast, and the feast is going to mean slaughtering an animal. But when they do that, they jump over its body, and it's jumping over the body that's the spirit of that animal will be giving the visitor a special grace, and all people will have something to eat. So they're tapping into something very deep and rich within themselves. Because it was a bishop involved and because it was about going to follow him, I was interested in his advocacy for people in a world that had no advocate. Not about adding numbers to the Vatican, but it is about connecting people. The missionary that I knew, it was Tom, he was a Maryknoll, and he was there in the village. And he was a helper, a friend. He brings a sense of connection, because the Nuba or the Dinka, they're isolated. It was a dry season, there was not much there. People were trying to keep life going. They're just living on what they have. There's no excess, there's no way of trading. Easygoing, placid, respectful. And these people are known for their peacefulness, for pulling together and resolving disputes amongst themselves. But they're helpless when it comes to this bombing. They could be extinguished. This could be another genocide. In another time, I was in a classroom that had the blackboard on one side, and on the other side it was a picture that they took with their minds. A truck with a machine gun and some black-hooded, dark-hooded men. These were the people who come through on horseback and steal children. Usually they take the children from the south, bring them north, and sell them to an Arab family. In this case, these men had taken these children in the middle of the night. One boy was what they called redeemed, or they were bought back. He didn't know where his family was. They were killed. And these boys, who later become called the Lost Boys, are children who've gone through life when their parents have been slaughtered and the rest of their family is slaughtered. We were in this emergency situation. Everything was an emergency. People were being bombed by this government, bombing its own people. The children in the schoolyard had been working on mathematics on this page. When the bomb came, the child who was holding it, her blood spattered on the page. And I photographed that page. The family of the slain children, those who were gathered around the gravesite saying prayers, and the grave itself, where the dog is at the foot of the grave. There was a doctor who operated on someone who had a gunshot wound. It didn't have to be that bad, but it was, because there wasn't enough antibiotics. And I learned later that he died on the way to a bigger clinic. There seems to be no stopping point. There is this internal strength of renewal. And some of the pictures I took were of them renewing their villages. And I walked a short way, and I discovered that there were these boys creating these mounds so they could put the water into the mound, so the cattle could get the water from that. It's their industry, their industry of survival. How far along have we come in this effort for peace? From what I hear, in terms of numbers and the way they're killing people, is far worse than it was. I knew that once we were gone, things could heat up quickly. The boy standing isolated, alone on the airstrip. This one little black figure standing there in the middle of it. His defenselessness, his emptiness, his awesomeness towards this big machine that's going to take people away. And he represents this isolation, this sense of people that are yearning for connection. I can imagine what all kinds of thoughts he must be having at this moment. Would he find safety? Would he be home? Would he be at home? I felt that this was about photography or as an instrument of advocacy, as an instrument of peace. I made a conscious choice about that we don't want them to disappear. We want them to stay and live their life. That's why we came.